Hello everyone, this is IMR and I'm going to show you how to repair Pleo's broken neck. This is to repair the top or bottom cable, so the ones that run along the top and the bottom of the neck, as they're the most commonly broken. To do the side cables can be done, but requires a lot more than what I'm going to show you. This is the easiest one to replace. If you want to replace the side cables, you do actually have to remove all the skin and the front legs, and you have to be able to get in here. So it's a lot more complicated than what we're going to do today. Just a couple of notes, some tools that you'll need. You're going to need screwdrivers, jeweler's screwdrivers. You can pick them up at any hardware store, they're not that dear. Make sure you get good quality ones though, not the cheap ones, otherwise they're just going to break on you. You'll need a couple of different sizes. They usually come in a kit of different sizes, and you'll need Phillips head, not that's the star-shaped ones, not spade bit. You'll need a bit of blue tack. I don't know if you have this in the US, but it's kind of sticky, malleable stuff. Very useful to get some screws out. You will of course need some cable. This is 0.6mm 7x7 stainless steel cable. I ordered this online. The cable itself cost, I don't know, $1.38 or something, and then the postage on top of that. I also have here some 0.8mm cable, and I'm actually going to try that today and see if that works, because it's quite a bit thicker than the 0.6. So that's the 0.6 on the top, and I'll see if that works. Other useful tools, you might want a set of these. I've got no idea what these are called, but they're great for gripping onto cables. Either that or a pair of pliers should do the job. Just anything that you can use so that you can hang on to the bottom cable and it doesn't slip out on you. As regards to your Pleo, you'll need to open up the neck area here. You do that just by gently inserting a blade underneath the shoulder here and gently pulling it apart. Now you have to be very, very careful. You don't want to cut the skin. I was able to do it just by pulling it apart, but you may not be able to do that. Depends on how much glue is on your Pleo. You need to access the top of the neck here, but should be able to do it without disconnecting the head skin completely or the body skin completely. It is a little bit trickier without removing the skin, but in hindsight removing the skin itself is pretty tricky, so it's probably easier just to manage. Okay, you might be able to see here that I've actually already repaired the cable. I actually did this through once just to see how to do it and to see if there was a better way than originally planned. And fortunately there is a much easier way to do it. So I'm going to run this second time through with the 0.8mm cable, as I mentioned, just to see if the thicker cable will work. Now you do need to be careful. There's lots of wires in here. You don't want to damage any. Please do not attempt this if you are not comfortable with electronics. You can do irreparable damage to your Pleo, so yes, you do this at your own risk. The company Yogobi of course no longer exists, so they will not be able to help you, and if you're doing this on a Pleo Reborn, well, it will void your warranty and Invo will not be able to help you if you make a mistake. So you attempt this entirely at your own risk. Okay, first thing first is removing the old cable. So to do that, we start with the head end. So you need to pull the skin back a bit. Now don't worry too much about how much stress you're putting on the skin here. You can pull it quite a bit without damaging it. The skin, well, this is how it was put on originally. So it can take quite a lot of flexing. Okay, so you need to uncover this plastic area here. Now there are two screws on this side. You won't be able to see them, I'm afraid. I'm going to try and do this with minimal interruptions. Without a screwdriver. Having the right size screwdriver is essential. If your screwdriver is slipping, you've got one that's too small. Okay, so there's 2 screws on this side. Easy enough to remove. They might be a little bit tight, mine were at first, but nothing too drastic. And there is 1 screw on this side. Now make sure you don't mix them up, because the screw on this side is a different size. So make sure you don't get them mixed up. Now you'll see, hopefully, that the head should just pop out. Okay, once you have those screws out, the head just slips out. Now it doesn't come right off. It is attached in there by wires, so make sure you hang on to it. Now I've got these wires just wrapped around here, just because I was testing to see if they were going to be strong enough. But I'll show you the actual cable in a minute, how it'll be attached. So I've got them just wrapped around there, but I hope you can see this. Originally, they had little copper tabs on the top to stop them slipping, and they sit in there. Okay, so that was how they were originally. Now when you take them out, you may be able to recycle the copper tabs, or you may not. I've opted not to, just because I don't want that hassle, and instead I've just wrapped the wire around and glued it, which seems to have worked quite well. Alright, so I've just pulled the glue off there. You might be able to see it on the wire there. Alright, the bottom one's going to be a bit tricky to do on camera, but same thing, I've just wrapped it around. You can do that with the thin wire, it does seem to work quite well. I'm probably not going to be able to do that with the thicker wire, but we'll just wait and see. Alright, there we go. Alright, now those wires are loose and sitting out. If your wires are broken, they may just come off easier than that. I don't know. Alright, now that I've done that, I'm going to put the screws back on because I don't want to lose them. I do suggest that you do that as well. If you lose any screws, they may be difficult to replace, and they do need to be a certain size and length. And you can see that the neck is completely floppy now. Now just one other thing I should mention, your Pleo's neck should be straight, completely straight like this before you start this operation, as you will need it to be perfectly straight to align the cables properly inside. Lilo was already straight, so I should have mentioned that earlier, but hopefully you're watching this before you attempt the operation. I'll put a note on at the start as well. Okay, so now the cable just simply pulls through these little holes here, top and bottom, and that's it for that end. Okay, the neck can just sit there like that, won't matter too much. Alright, now we have to get into the body cavity where the cables are. I'm just going to shift Lilo around and hopefully give you a better view. What you need to do first is remove the back plates. Now to remove that white plate there, you first need to remove the black one. So remove the black plate and then the white plate, and then we can get to the insides. Now you can see what I mean about it might be a little bit easier to remove the skin completely, but it really is quite a hassle to do, so I think it's easier just to manage this way. Now, you can pull that skin back quite a bit, it's not going to tear. Now please be careful with this black plate, there are a couple of different parts in here and you don't want to lose them. There are 3 screws at the back and 1 screw at the front there. Now this holds the back and the front part of the body together. So once you remove this, the middle of the body is going to go a little bit floppy. And that simply lifts up and out. Now do it carefully and you won't dislodge any of the screws. Okay, just to show you what I mean by it being in parts, you've actually got 3 screws in the top there, and this bottom bit actually comes out. So that sits in there. So if you do it carefully, you won't actually dislodge that, and it'll stay in one nice handy piece which you can sit down flat and keep in a safe place. Okay, so now you can see the body is a little bit floppy. Okay, the next thing to do is to remove this white plate. Now there is one screw underneath this silver plate here that you won't be able to see. So you need to either peel the foil back a little bit, very carefully, or just make a small hole in the foil. I've opted for the hole method. It doesn't seem to affect her sense of touch at all. And well, I tried peeling back the foil, but on mine it just started to tear. So that'll depend on your Pleo and again how much glue is there. So I'm going to start at the back here. I'll just lift up my iPad. I'll just show you what we're looking at here. If I can just pull it back far enough. Okay, so you can see there are 2 screws right at the back. There are 4 on this side, and there are 2 on this side. Now also, just a quick note here while I'm here. On the side here you have this little bit of foam. Now I've run a knife along there to score it so that I can easily separate the plates, because the foam does stick the top plate to the side plates there. Okay, let's get these screws off. Again, make sure you line the screws up carefully because some are different sizes. It might help if I had the right screwdriver on my end. Okay, sorry about that interruption there. Alright, let's get these screws off. I'm sorry, my hand's going to be in the way a bit. Can't be helped. Okay, once again I'm going to try and do it without actually taking the screws out because that'll be a little bit tricky. So I'm just going to try and leave the screws in there and lift them off in one piece. But you do need to be careful because this back plate is actually attached by a cable. Just bear with me for a sec. Should be able to see these ones. Now I'm going to have to take these ones out because they don't sit in there as deeply. Now you can't actually see it on camera, but I actually have some blue tack stuck on a board in the same pattern as these screws, so I can just stick the screw down and know which one is which. I'll show you that in a moment. You definitely don't want to risk losing a screw. Now these ones at the front are very tight. Now there's another screw in the middle here. Please do not undo that one. Alright, one more on this side and we should be able to lift it off. There we are. Okay, that's all the screws out except for the 3 that are a little bit harder to get to. Now when I lift this up, please be aware that there is a little loose piece of plastic sitting in here. So when you take this back plate up, that could fall. So you want to be mindful of that and be careful not to lose it. So this should just lift up. It's going to be a bit tricky because I do have, I don't think I've got one of the screws loose enough here. Alright, here we go. Just lift it straight up. and out. Now you can't pull it right out because, as I mentioned, there is a cable underneath. So there's your cable there. You definitely do not want to break that. So I'm just going to push these screws out so I don't lose them. And I will stick them down. Okay, now I'll just take you a moment to show you my little screw collection here. You can see they've got each one stuck down in the pattern that they were on the body, so that I know where they go. So now you can see inside the body here. This is the bit here that we need to get to. That's where the cables run. Now I'm just going to carefully remove this white piece. Hope you can see that. That just lifts straight up and out. Put that in a safe place, you do not want to lose it. Okay, now to get to this bit, I'll just grab a screwdriver here so I can point. What we need to do is remove, this bit comes out, and just on the side there you see that little orange tab there, that actually needs to come off. Now you can leave that on, but it means that you can't pull this out anywhere near as far. Now this is attached by little wires underneath, so just be mindful of that. Do not pull it all the way out, or you could break one of them, and that wouldn't be very nice. Okay, now to get this out, there are a couple of screws. I'll just lift this up again. Now there is one screw just there. One underneath the wires here, and there is one underneath here, so this part actually needs to come up as well. So we'll tackle that back part first. Now this back part just lifts up, so just hope you can see. Just pull the part up very carefully. Now don't dislodge it too far because, like always, it's attached with wires. So just lift that up and sit it towards the back there. And now you can see that screw just under there, which also needs to come out. Alright, I'll try doing this on camera. Sorry about my wobbly camera work there. I keep forgetting which side the lens is actually on my iPad. Alright, so there's one screw out. Now again, I'm going to stick these down with blue tack so I don't lose them. Alright, here goes the next one. Same one. Alright, now all these screws are the same as far as I can tell, but still you might not want to mix them up. This one's a bit trickier because you've got to get in underneath those wires. Now just gently move the wires out the way. Alright, and there's the last one. Now I'm just going to stick these down on my board there so I don't lose them.